who's the best quarterback, SEC quarterback that you've covered?
That is a hard one. I'm going to cop out a little bit here on you. The best year for any quarterback I ever saw in the SEC was Cam Newton in 2010. And I know right now LSU fans are saying, wait a minute, what about Joey Burrow? Burrow's season was unbelievable, and what he did numbers wise, they won a national championship. But I say Cam because when you look at what he had around him versus what Burrow had around him at LSU, go look at how many people on that Auburn offense were drafted, offensive linemen, running backs, receivers, versus that LSU team. That doesn't diminish in any way what Burrow did. But I've never seen a better season from a quarterback than I saw from Cam Newton. He essentially lifted that Auburn team up on his shoulders and delivered a national championship. He was unstoppable. I covered probably, I don't know, 5 games that year live, probably 6 counting the BCS championship game, the SEC championship game. And I don't know that I've ever seen a quarterback on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 down the red zone who was more unstoppable than he was that year in 2010. So for one season, Cam Newton was the best I've ever seen. Golly, that's Tim Tebow was unbelievable. He was just the way he was so dominant again in 3rd and long. But he had a lot of great players around him. Percy Harvin. If I go all the way back to the to the 80s, to the 90s. There's so many great quarterbacks who come through the SEC, but just certainly in the last 20 years, I think that's the season that Cam had. I don't know that we'll see that duplicated where someone is that good with good players around him, but not great players around. I'd say the most underrated SEC quarterback I saw play is Connor Shaw at South Carolina. What he did in that 3-year stretch. You go back and look what he did at a school that has not won at a high level at all, South Carolina, 11, 12, and 13. And they went 11 games for 3 straight years and finished in the top 10. He was the heartbeat of those teams under Steve Spurrier and played hurt, played when he wasn't 100%, was an unbelievable leader. I've always said I thought Connor was, in my time of covering the SEC, was as underrated quarterback as I saw play. I know everyone's going to say Peyton Manning and Danny Werfel. Werfel did win the Heisman, Peyton didn't. Of course, don't bring up the word Heisman around Tennessee fans. Those were 2 supremely talented guys. Peyton's one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks to ever play the game. And I know he gets a lot of grief because he didn't beat Florida as a starter. And they didn't win a national championship, but he, talent wise and what he went on to become, I think that I've seen live in the SEC. He's probably the best ever. But for one season, I'd put what Cam Newton did in 2010 against anybody.